Hey everyone, thanks for watching this clip of Advancement Live. It's about 20 minutes long, and in it I'm interviewing my colleague Heidi Kozik here at the University of Virginia. She works in donor relations and she's a stewardship specialist, so she had some awesome comments about how to personalize your stewardship efforts. Advancement Live is brought to you by two amazing sponsors each week, and I'd love to introduce them to you. Advancement Live is brought to you by iModules. iModules software is the leading constituent engagement management provider for educational institutions. iModules delivers an integrated online platform that transforms how institutions strengthen constituent relationships and achieve fundraising success. Advancement Live is also sponsored by mStoner. It is produced by mStoner as well, a marketing and communications firm that works with educational institutions on branding, strategy, web design, and more. This June, coming right up, mStoner is hosting an in-depth two-part webinar series focused on brand strategy. And if you want to sign up for that, which you should, you can click on the link below in this post on Advancement Live. If you really enjoy the content, we really appreciate it if you would share it, tweet it out, share it on Facebook, and definitely put it up on LinkedIn. Let us know we're doing a good job, and we'll continue to work hard producing great segments of Advancement Live. Thanks for sharing. Have a great day. Hey, Heidi, how are you today?
Good.
Fantastic. Well. Now it is time for a discussion about stewardship, and I'm pleased to introduce my colleague Heidi Kozik. Heidi is the Assistant Director of Donor Relations and Stewardship at University Advancement here at the University of Virginia. Heidi oversees the stewardship program for the university's donors, alumni, parents, and friends, which includes acknowledgment letters, endowment reporting, in memory of and in honor of reporting, and holiday cards. Customized stewardship efforts, and the Lawn Society, the university's highest level giving society. Heidi has been with Donor Relations since 2005 and serving as Assistant Director for just the last 2 years and doing amazing work. Heidi, and we're getting the chance to prepare our show for today. We started off the idea of how customization is really important with respect to a donor stewardship strategy. And here at UVA, of course, no different. Can you tell folks about our stewardship strategy and the stewardship books you guys create?
Absolutely. So Kenna touched on it briefly, working with the principal donors. So Donor Relations works with the Principal Relationship Development Office to select book candidates. So people are who've been really involved and engaged with the university, and so we essentially do research on that donor. So we go back and look at all their involvement as student years, if they've been involved in any service boards at UVA, and as well as their philanthropy and the impact of their philanthropy. So we create these customized stewardship books that really detail photos, quotes, stories, a variety of pieces that anything we get our hands on essentially that involves those donors. And we compile it into a photo book. We use Booksmart program, which is from blurb.com. And
nice plug for the blurb.com folks.
Unintentional.
That's great.
But that one really has been the best templates and services that we can use. But anyway, we compile the books. We have, everyone who has any type of relationship with that donor here review it. So development officers, folks in the office. The books are given as a thank you to the donor. Really, those donors who have been involved for years with the university. The book is usually delivered by the president or another high-level administrator. We've done about, 11 of them. They're pretty intensive. They take 6 to 8 weeks to put together. We do them in addition to our normal tasks of acknowledgement letters and other reporting. So it really is spending time at the libraries, pulling out old yearbooks, scanning pictures. If the donor was on the student newspaper, the Cavalier Daily, for example, we would pull articles from the Cavalier Daily, scan those in. They either written or if they were featured in them, if they were played a sport. So these really are very custom books for each donor. We also include registration cards, so cards that the donor had filled out as a student their first, second, third, fourth years here. And so those were great finds when we realized we had those. People are really surprised to see that the university has kept that after so many years, because a lot of our books have been for the 1950s graduates. And so that's kind of a really special token for them.
And what an amazing piece to give folks to say thank you and to develop and further enhance that emotional connection back to the university. I mean, that's amazing stuff, and some really individual labor that goes into each one of those books. I can imagine why that you only do ones when really important occasions, because that is a significant amount of time. And for important folks around here. And so what are the stewardship components for first-time donors? So we've got the folks who are in the hopper and are giving at a high level, as opposed to folks who are new. How are those donors treated differently or separately?
So Donor Relations started doing the first-time donor program in 2010, and it started out as a quarterly email that a staffer here took on as a part of our responsibilities. And since then, it's evolved, beginning fiscal year 14, into a monthly email and a card. So University Advancement Donor Relations, we're just kind of one development office at UVA among several, and so we really work in conjunction with those offices to do all of our work. So for the first-time donor, we report on select gifts. So for like School of Medicine, for example, the health systems, they have their own reporting, so we are reporting on a subset of group. But typically the first-time donor program, it includes either an email, if they have an email in our system, or if they don't have an email, we send them a card. And for fiscal year 14, the email was segmented into 4 groups. So for an alum, a non-alum, a student, and then donors and alum to the University of Virginia's College at Wise. So we started to segment those messages and send email communication specific to whatever group they fell under. The hard copy card is the same message for everyone. For the card, for the email, that's been going on since 2010. As I said, the card is new. But let me see, sorry. A little lost here.
Oh, that's all good. So you were talking about in addition to the email and card?
Into the card, yes. So for the new components of the program for fiscal year 14, we segmented the email, we started doing the card, and then we started incorporating those recipients into New Traditions, which is an electronic quarterly newsletter. So those folks who give receive that e-newsletter for 2 fiscal years. And then we also started incorporating those recipients into other acknowledgement programs. So, for example, students write handwritten notes to donors who support need-based scholarships. And then recently, staff has started writing notes to students who support a variety of allocations, whichever the initiative might be. Right now, need-based scholarships. So we've just come out of 2 different note writing events. One for students that was held in April, thanking donors who gave to need-based scholarships, and then staff who wrote notes to students who gave to need-based scholarships.
And we just had a fun pizza party with note writing, and it was a great little system, and we had a good time as a team helping out donor relations, acknowledging scholarship gifts that were made from students. And so, gift acknowledgement is a huge piece of the puzzle as it comes to stewardship. And how does donor relations make sure that sort of the same letters and the same language aren't going out to the same person more than once?
Well, I think the 2 things that we try to do as far as our acknowledgement letters are to make them personal and timely. So kind of following up with Kenna talking about the president and the use of the president at events, we have a stewardship coordinator in our office that her primary responsibility is writing acknowledgement letters from the president. And so, again, a labor-intensive process. We have a report that she runs that pulls gifts at a certain level. So we write gifts from the president at a certain level, and then at a lower level from the senior vice president for university advancement. So Casey pulls this report, and she really looks at the donor's record to see where the gift is allocated, and where what they've received in the past and how often. So she crafts the letter based on allocation and also based on the donor. We have an associate in our office who reviews that letter and then looks back at previous year's text to ensure that we're not sending out duplicate language. What we really try to do is make sure that the text is specific to the allocation, so the donor knows where and the impact of their gift. But also we try to put a personal touch in there for the donor from the president. So if the donor serves on the board of visitors or another board at one of the schools, we may reference that. If she's recently seen a donor at an event, we sometimes reference that. We have recently started, the letter writer has really kept in mind the different areas, the cities where the president has visited, and if gifts come in from donors who live in those areas, checked back to see if that person attended an event. We can make that reference. Also, graduation just happened, so if the donor has a son or daughter who's about to graduate, and she's aware of that, we make a reference to that as well. In addition to our office, those letters are sent out to the different schools and units whose areas referenced in the letter, and they review them as well. So we really try to make sure that it's as accurate as possible, but also that it's as personal to the donor as it can be.
Great. And one of the things that, and we touched on this a little bit already, but getting students, faculty, and staff involved in the stewardship process here at UVA. Can you talk a little bit about a couple of the things? I know we sort of touched on handwriting notes in general, but a really important piece of the puzzle to get everybody involved here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the student note writing has been the most successful piece of that. So we've tried to do one per semester. So we started in fall of 13, I think. I'm sorry, spring 2013. So we had spring, fall, and this past spring. And each time has been more successful. Of the 2 of the 3 sessions have been for donors who give to need-based scholarships. They were the most successful in relation to the students connecting with the reason for writing. We did have a note writing event this past fall where we thanked some of our senior volunteer leaders for was a University Advancement Committee, and the students had a hard time connecting to that because they weren't really aware of the board, and kind of so we had kind of explained like what the board does and all that. So the need-based scholarships has definitely been the most successful piece of the student note writing. As far as getting staff involved, this past spring we did the staff note writing event where we thanked students who gave to need-based scholarships, and staff were more than happy to do that. A lot of the gifts are kind of the lower level gifts, and so they're not necessarily pulled into other acknowledgement letter criteria. Either from the president or senior vice president for university advancement, or even the first-time donor program. So it's been a really good way to kind of catch those folks who don't fall into one of the other categories and also get a handwritten note.
And it was fun doing it too. Switching gears slightly, can you talk a little bit about the Consolidated honor roll and what do you think the impact is in having a donor's name appear on a list? I know that's something that I think a lot of folks think about is making sure that you acknowledge publicly in that sort of way.
Mm-hmm. So the Consolidated honor roll it's really the first time we've ever done this. The University Advancement has 3 giving societies: the Lawn Society, the Cornerstone Society, and the Rotunda Society, and each of those is managed by another department. Donor Relations manages the Lawn Society. And so this year, what is a year that everyone does a publication. So donors have the possibility of receiving multiple publications in the same year. And so we got together and decided to do a Consolidated honor roll that features all 3 given societies and their honor roll lists. What we hope to do is increase membership across multiple societies. There are thousands of members within each society. Several hundred are members of all 3. Several hundred more are members of at least 2. And so we're hoping to really showcase all 3 and increase membership. Also, I'm well aware and I respect all opinions on both sides of whether or not an honor roll is the best use of time or recognition. But for our purposes, from what we've seen and kind of heard back from our donors, they do appreciate it. And it's not just a honor roll. We also include impact stories. So the bulk of it is, where the money goes and how it impacts the university. And we also do some donor profiles. So the publication is scheduled to go out in the fall. We are including a survey with the publication this year to see kind of the donor's response to receiving kind of a consolidated honor roll versus 3 separate honor rolls throughout the year.
Awesome. And so before we answer and bring Kenna back in for the question about print versus paper, which I think is a really great topic to end on, can you talk a little bit about the greatest opportunity for stewardship in the digital space? I know a lot of our viewers are interested in that, and we were going to show some of the websites we've been working on.
Mm-hmm. So in kind of following up to the talk about the Consolidated Honor Roll, with that we are including creating a website with the Plans Giving Office and the Office of Annual Giving to feature the 3 societies. I think what you're seeing right now is the Lawn Society website that was created in conjunction with the Lawn Society directory in 2012. And so a website will be created for this one that really showcases all 3. In addition to that, we have the endowments website, which features information about endowed funds at the University of Virginia. Professorships, lectureships, scholarships, the variety of funds. Information for this is included in the annual Rector and Visitors Endowment Report mailing, which goes out in the fall. And this website was created as a supplement to the larger we mail to approximately 950 people. And so those packets include a card that has information about the donors' funds and his login and password information, so they can go on and access that information electronically. So of that group, slowly but surely, we're hoping to win people over and get them to choose electronic communication. We have had about 10 that have asked to stop receiving the publication hard copy report and then to move to the electronic copy. We also do a lower level mailing. It's a 1-page letter from the Senior Vice President for University Advancement, thanking them for their endowed fund gifts and then directing them to the website for more information to find out how their fund has impacted the university. That's about 300 people, approximately, give or take, and that is strictly, electronic. The letter goes hard copy, but the information they can find is electronic. So we've received good feedback on both. We are looking to revamp the endowments website this year. We've had it alive for a couple of years now, and as we kind of see how the end user interacts with the website as far as a donor, students going there looking for scholarship, and how to apply for scholarships, people coming to the site to find out how to create information, or to find information to create an endowed fund. So we're revising those sites and kind of thinking about how the end user interacts with them.
Yeah, and it's fun to take a run around the sites and learn what we've got. And this has been a tremendous learning opportunity for me, as I hadn't had the chance to explore some of the sites that you guys are working on. Thanks so much, Heidi, for joining us today.
You're welcome.